guys, if you all will please join me with a great round of applause and welcome Miss Dawn Haynes to the platform. Hello, Miss Dawn. How are you?
Thank you.
How are you?
What a beautiful
Yes.
What's happening, Queens?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I am so happy to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this day.
Oh my gosh, I called you out of the blue. She was like, when I called her, she was like, so you actually took the time out to find my phone number, because most people don't do that.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I was so surprised because she answered the phone. Like, she didn't have an assistant or someone else to answer the phone. She actually picked up the phone herself. And we had a conversation, and she said, go take a look at my Facebook page, watch this interview that I did. And when I watched the interview, I was just super excited about what I was hearing. Guys, when you hear the story behind this fashionista turned expert renovator, y'all gonna be like, what? Let me tell you something. This woman, this boss, this legend has created so many facets of financial security for herself. And it's like, I thought it, let me do it. Okay. So without further ado, I'm not gonna take up no time because I'm here to learn.
Let's
Miss
go.
Dawn, take the floor.
I am so ready. I just ask away. Let's go.
Okay, so can you please share with us how you got started? I know, like, right now you are into renovating. I've seen some of the properties that you've done, and I'm just like in awe. Like, wow, how you could transition from being in the fashion industry where you styled people, where you were a part of road management teams and things of that nature, and then go from that to renovating homes, doing interior and it's just amazing to see your gifts. Wow. So can you please like share with us, like, how did you get started in the fashion industry?
You know, I think that life is like, clearly it's a journey, and clearly like we don't know where's the beginning, where's the middle, and where's the end. Because I could say the beginning was when I was 12 or so. My mother owned a boutique, and she would go shopping around the world and come back and open the boxes in her store. And I had older sisters. So my sisters and their friends would be there with my mom, and I would get in the box, tall boxes. While they were like, ooh, wow. And I could hear them. So subconsciously, I knew there was something special behind garments. Why are all these sounds about a dress? I didn't get it, but it was penetrating within my spirit. Cut to, my father passed away. We moved to California. My mom and I moved to California. And when we moved here, we moved by the beach in Playa del Rey. And so I was into horseback riding. I did a lot of really fun stuff when I was young. I skied. I did stuff that was not normal for a young Black girl to do, in the 80s or late 70s. And so while I was horseback riding one day, my cousin called me and told me that Tina Marie had lived around the corner from him, and he found her house. I was like, Tina Marie doesn't live in Inglewood. Get out of here. And he was like, I swear to you, come when you finish riding, come. So I drove to where he was, and he said, she lives right there in that apartment. Now, it was a 2-bedroom, small apartment. I did not believe him. At that time, she had Square Biz and It Must Be Magic and Portuguese Love. All these hits were out. So it was hard for me to believe that she lived there. So I stood outside, and her security came out, and he said, hello. And I'm a little teeny thing. So he's like, hello, what are you doing? And I said, my cousin said Tina Marie lives there. Does she? And he said, hold on, I'll be right back. And he went in the house, and she came out, and I had my horseback riding pants on and my boots and everything. And she said, do you ride horses? I say, yeah. She said, so do I. Where do you ride? So I told her where I ride, and she was like, you want to ride tomorrow? I'm going to bring my crew, and we're going to go riding. And sure enough, I came back there the next day. I said, are you ready? She said, yeah. So we drove to Hollywood. We went horseback riding. We had a blast.
Wow.
Again, I was 16 or 17 at the time. And I was in college and high school. I went to college because I wanted to get more credits to graduate from high school early. So she was asking me questions. She was like, so what do you do? I said, well, I'm in college. Never said I was in high school. I'm in college.
Right.
So she's like, well, you know, love your fashion. You know, you have really good sense of fashion. And, you know, I'd like to get to know more about your life. And I was like, I want to know more about your life. So I said, well, you know, my mom, my family's from Portugal, Cape Verde Island. I said, my mom loves your music. I said, you should come over. My mother will cook and, you know, you can meet her or whatever. So she was like, okay. So she came over. My mom and Tina Marie kicked it off. And Tina told her, you know, I'd like to take Dawn out on the road with me and teach her about the music industry. I think she has something really special. So my mother gave her the blessings. And so every summer of my high school and college semester breaks, I would tour with her. So I went on Budweiser tours with Patti LaBelle, Frankie Beverly and Mays, Luther Vandross, Anita Baker. And I'm 17 with this responsibility to take care of the wardrobe cases. And that's what my responsibility was. At every change of clothes during the songs, I would be back there making sure that everything was on the rack, making sure that, you know, that she did the quick changes, you know. And so that's how my career started at a very young age. And then
talk about fate.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So
yeah,
I pursued my college and I went to, I got my AA from Santa Monica in telecommunications. And then I went to Long Beach State and I was going to become an attorney. I wanted to do entertainment law. So I learned contract negotiations. And that helped me over the years to negotiate my own contracts. So after Tina Marie, I met Queen Latifah, I met TLC, I met Vanessa Williams, and I started styling all of them, one after another. Single generation of music that just kept coming out. People started knowing that I was the go-to person. So I would negotiate my own contracts, and you know, we would go out on the road, and I would get paid first. I would get paid the most. I would get paid first. So everyone wanted to know, well, why do you get paid before the band, before any other, you know, person? I said, well, I put that in my contract. Don't you do that?
Wow.
And
wow.
And Tina Marie had taught me, make sure you know your value. Make sure you know your worth.
Exactly.
And that is something that I feel like I want to teach young people. You know, I'm in these panels in Clubhouse and Facebook, and I constantly teach young people that all this also pertains to who you date. It pertains to who you hang out with. No, not lower your standards. Do not feel like you have to be rushed into having sex, dating, anything.
Right. Yes.
Meet that person that's going to be your friend and teach you, and you teach each other until you get to a status where you're comfortable. And, you know, because I think there's an instant gratification nowadays that people want the glory. They want the money. They want the big car. They think that they're deserving of it. If I have sex with you, you'll buy me this purse. You'll buy me these shoes.
Yeah.
What I try to explain to them is you could get that yourself. I have had 2 Rolls Royces I bought myself. I've had 2 more than $1 million homes I bought myself. I pay my own mortgage. I do it myself, and I feel good about it. Nobody's going to throw me out or threaten me or nothing, because it's mine.
Right.
So I like speaking to young people. I like letting them know that there's so much out there. You just have to focus. You have to, you know, stand your ground, and you have to work hard. You have to get up and do it. So you can't just lay in bed and wish that you. I can't just wish that God will help me. God wants me to put my feet on the floor.
Exactly.
But outside, figure it out.
Right. Yes.
Because I mean, the simple word faith without works is dead. So you have to put something
Yes.
into action in
Yes.
order to actually make it a reality. So
Yes.
I mean, something you touched on that was so amazing just now, what you said, is teaching young people that you have to create the world. You
Yes.
have to create your circle. You
Yes.
have to create, you have the ability to decide
Yes.
who you want to allow in your life and who you don't want to allow in your life.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because me being the age that I am, I'm just now getting to a place where I'm just like, no, I will not. You are not good for me. Therefore, I have to let you go. Look, there is a place that I'm trying to get to, and you're a hindrance. You're not a helper.
Yeah.
So you point. I couldn't have said it better than you. You did an. Thank you so much for even bringing that out. And so many of our young people need to hear that.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because it's like, you know, that was just really the beginning of my career. Like there was so much more to come. And again, I think that because I set the tone in the industry, that I didn't dim my light. I allowed my light to be bright as everybody else who was in the room, even though I was amongst these stars.
Right.
I would come in, I'm fly too. I'm gonna get dressed too. So when
I know that's right.
Yes.
Don't call me and ask me what I'm wearing, because I don't want you to look like me I'm not gonna tell you. I'll see you there.
Yeah.
So I walk in, that's Dawn. That's Usher stylist. That's Halle Berry stylist. That's Eddie Murphy stylist. That's Jamie Foxx's stylist. So as time went on, those became my clients. And then I started an agency.
Wow.
Knew how to negotiate contracts. I knew how to teach other people now. You know, stop giving your services away because it's Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada got enough money for her great grandchildren, and you want to give her.
LaShawn tells me that all the time.
You want to give her a deal?
Yeah.
What deal you giving her? She don't need a deal. You're thinking you're diminishing your value.
Right.
And so that deal now becomes, oh, now you're her friend. And now can you do this for free or a favor? Because you set the precedence. You showed up. I'm just going to, well, we went to dinner, so I did her hair. But you charge $5,000 a day, or I charge $5,000 a day for your services. Right. Now you just gave it away free. Why she want to pay your rate tomorrow?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So we go through, like, you know, we have to, like, I feel like my whole life has been something of I teach and then I work. I show them by example. You know, I show them by example because I've maintained this reputation in the business that if you want Dawn as your stylist, number one, she costs, and number two, she normally only deals with Common, Eddie Murphy, Halle Berry, Usher, Jamie Foxx. So with that came the responsibility of how do I keep outdoing myself? And by the grace of God comes Eddie Murphy and the Oscars, comes Halle Berry in the James Bond movie. So now Donatella Versace's calling me, Roberto Cavalli's calling me, Dolce & Gabbana's calling me, and saying, come to our studio. You have carte blanche. Pick what you want. It's not even in the store.
Wow.
Or the example of Donatella Versace was Eddie's being nominated for an award for Actor of the Year. I don't want anything that's already made. Can I design with you? And she said yes. So I was like, I mean, at the time I was like, oh, this is great. In retrospect now, I'm like, wow, I designed something with Donatella Versace. I've designed with Roberto Cavalli, with Valentino. And, you know, it's not that I had my own line, but I had one custom piece that I got to design for each one of my celebrity clients.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is
so
so amazing.
So
like,
amazing.
I might literally get chills just listening to your story.
And I you know, now that, you know, I'm no longer in that business, I recognize the stamp that I put on it, and I want to tell the story. Before I was like, I'm behind the scenes. I'm behind the scenes for a reason. You know, I want my anonymity. I want to go to dinner and not be, you know, worried about who's taking a picture and is one of my pieces of hair out of place, you know, my makeup. You know, I like going places and just being normal. I know that a show, which is in the works, I hope, praise God, it's listening. So we're going to let him make
put it out there in the atmosphere.
We're going to put it out that the universe is working with me. And so I have some desires with Netflix or HGTV or OWN, where I was
just going to ask you, do you have a show coming up soon on HGTV? I love HGTV.
I need it, and I got it. You know, I want it to be inspirational. I want it to be a show that someone who lives in Wichita or Mississippi or some backwoods place that just has never seen a Black woman doing what I've done, doing it the way I want to do it, being a boss, but yet being humbled. You know, you don't have to be a diva to have, you know, to have this position. I am so grateful for so many things: health, love, character, good reputation, and having the purpose and the passion and wanting to give back. Because the other biblical term that I like using is to much is given,
much is required.
And that's my, I feel that deep in my soul that I have to give back because I've been so blessed
to be a bridge builder.
Yes.
For the next generation.
And it's
something.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the thing is that I just love your spirit. When I talk to you on the phone, because, you know, you can, like with me trying to reach out and make contact with different people, you know, my husband's like, you're not afraid to ask anybody anything. And I think that goes back to, I'm secure in the fact that I know that the Most High God has given me this vision, right?
Yes.
I know that it's for an intended purpose for our people. So no, I'm not going to stand in the face of anyone and be afraid to ask. The answer is going to be the yes, or it's going to be no. Either way. And no means it might not mean no. It just might be no, not right now.
Right.
You know, so I love the fact that you say you own your light. And when you step into the room, you know that you bring light, even though you're amongst celebrities, you weren't starstruck at a young, that is so impressive. Being so young in that industry, that is super impressive. That was the one thing that I really, when I listened to your video, your interview, it stood out so profoundly to me, is the fact that you were kind of like, I know who I am.
Yeah.
And because I know who I am and what I possess and what I know that I'm bringing to the table, I'm not going to undersell myself or cut myself short. So I really do love that. I admire that about you. I do want to get to some of the comments, because it's like people lighting up this comment section here.
Bring it. Let me hear. Light them up. I'm lit.
Okay. So, Althea says, awesome piece of history. Glad to be a part of it all. Thank you so much, Althea. And then my husband, Troy, says, what challenges did you face being a Black woman in business, fashion or otherwise?
Good question. So, okay. So in the beginning, when I told you that I really wanted to be an entertainment lawyer, that was something. I was a president of the Black Law Society at my university. I was on the only Black woman in the judiciary committee of my school. And I really was pushing to go to Pepperdine University. At the time, Vanessa Williams, the Miss America Vanessa Williams, was putting out the song The Right Stuff. I think that's what her song was.
You got the right stuff.
That's right. In the studio with her. And her husband is Ramon Hervey. And I tell him this, so it's not like I'm saying anything behind his back. But Ramon was an attorney at the time. He was her attorney, and he also was very prominent in the industry as a lawyer. Okay. So while Vanessa was in the room, I went into the hallway and was talking to him. And you know, I was in my last year of undergrad, and I was saying, Ramon, I want to be an attorney, and I want to be an entertainment attorney. And he said, that's crazy. No Black women are entertainment attorneys. And at that time they weren't. he said, I don't think that's a good idea. He said, I can't see that. Like, you should think of something else. And I told him, like, maybe 3 years ago, we went and we celebrated someone's birthday. And I told him at the table, I said, you crushed me. I said, you let the air out of my balloon, and he's about 10 years older than me or so, maybe a little more. I said, you literally let the air out of my balloon. I said, but I want to thank you because I've traveled the world. I make more than most attorneys. And I started my own business.
Yeah.
I became an agent instead of an attorney. So I didn't have to sit in the office. I didn't have to, go 4 more years of college. I didn't have to spend a lot of money. I said, I want to thank you, but I also learned the lesson that I will never tell anybody that I meet that they can't do something.
Exactly.
And I know, I had to get it off my chest and let him know what he did, but I thanked him too with the same passion. For, maybe that was the message that he got to give to me, but I implore anybody, whether it's your children or whatever, never tell them you're not smart enough. Get your dumb self over here. Don't use those words because they start carrying that with them. You can't do this. You're never going to be able to do this. Stop thinking like that. Don't have those kind of dreams. Nobody in our family has ever done it. Stop putting stuff because it's the slightest little thing that you say to them that they start believing that. They have that. They can't help it. Who said it to me? My mom, my cousin, my this person, my that person. Somebody close to them put that in their spirit. You so stupid. Don't say those things to kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's horrible. So I just try to tell people, use, inspirational words. Tell them how beautiful they are. Tell them how smart they are. Tell them how kind they are. I love this about give them inspiring affirmations.
That is so true. I think a lot of times we are our worst enemies. I think parents sometimes parent out of fear versus out of seeing something special in their children. They because something didn't work right for them or something didn't work right for grandmom. I'm afraid that you're going to take the same route and you're going to lose time and you're going to, mess up your life. So you say all of those things to your children, thinking that you're helping to steer them in the right direction. When at the end of the day, you're causing them to set obstacles, like set up these big mountains. It starts out as a little hill. And like the more stuff you say that's negative, you pile it on top, and it becomes this huge mountain that they can't see that even overcoming. But then there's so much greatness in that child. So I agree with you 100%. And I can see how, just you sharing your testament of your childhood and how you grew up, the difference in growing up where you're able to be free and to be a child and kind of develop into your own, come into your own. The level of confidence that you carry is different than a child who's been told, no, you can't, you're stupid, you can't do this, that kind of thing. That child is already kind of set in a negative. They're already charted on a dark path. They have to have the willpower within themselves to say, I'm not that. I'm not going to believe that. I'm not this person. They have to fight against something that if they could expense that energy, expense it on something good, growing towards themselves versus fighting negative thoughts. So I love that.
I mean, it goes into, the fear factors. Get away from that pool. Don't do this. Don't do that. It's like, wait a minute. You got to let kids explore and learn and send them to, camps to learn how to swim, or find someone in your family who knows how to swim. Let them learn how to swim. Just because you may not want to or never have, let the children learn these kinds of things. Like I say, take them around horses, or take them places where they can find freedom and doing things individually.
That's my favorite animal. Sorry,
I was going to say that. That's her favorite animal. So
horses are my favorite animals.
I love horses. They are so. They're like
they're some of the smartest animals out there.
Yep, they're like elephants. They have great memories. They're kind. They're gentle. But it's people who abuse animals, and they see why. Maybe they might buck someone off because It might be the voice. It might be how you approach them. They might be whipped, you know. And so it's like dogs. I love dogs. Even the most, you know, ferocious dog. It's how he was trained. And if you could come at them and let them learn to trust you, and not gonna hurt you, you know.
I think animals can tell, especially when it comes down to dogs, they can tell. To me, they remind me of babies.
Yeah.
You know how they always say, you know, a baby, if you have a bad spirit, a baby's going to cry. These are just things that they say. However, dogs, I'm not a huge dog lover at all. Yeah. However, they love me. I'm always like, well, maybe they're just telling me, maybe I'm just a good person inside. So, you know, some of the most vicious dogs have just been so nice and just want me to pet. It's weird. And so I think they communicate. They communicate with you as a person.
I bet you if I got you a little puppy and you kept that puppy 2 days, you would be like, I love my baby. Look at my baby. I could see you in love with a little puppy. I could see it.
Yeah, definitely. We have some more comments here. Troy, my husband, says impressive information that you gave out. Ann Henderson said, love it. Then she said, you rock, Dawn. Thank you. And yes, thank you so much. Troy says, great advice. Ann said to what you said about children, don't diminish, or yourself, don't diminish your value.
That's right.
And then Jada, my daughter, she's has her own fashion line. She said, how did you gain exposure and credibility?
What a great question, Jada. So, you know, I'm going to address exposure. You're of a generation that exposure is at literally your fingertips.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I wish, my God, like computers, people, you know, think computers have been around a long time. They really just came out in the 90s.
You know, very true.
Yeah. It was AOL. We didn't have Google. We didn't have Facebook. We
dial up.
Twitter. We didn't have any of that. So I think exposure is such a great thing that you have. You know, I love TikTok for a lot of reasons. TikTok shows your personality. You can plug in your audience. You can utilize, you know, dress with your own stuff on. And while you're dressing, I mean, while you have your own garments on, you could talk about, I made this. You could, you know, do fun things with your own clothing line. You could, you know, Instagram and Facebook, all these live videos that you could put in there.
Wow.
Them making how you make your stuff, where your creative juices come from. Do you sketch? Do you sew? Do you you know, how do you get to, how did this product, did it start with crayons or markers? And this is show people how you start your design, and you get to that end garment. Now you built an audience. It's like a TV show. You're showing a series. This is it first. This is me doing it. Now I'm going to do this. Now, what do you guys think of this? And ask them their opinion. If you guys, you can start it, say the first 5 people, every time I show my video that comments, I'm going to make you something special. And something special could be a wristband, a headband, a scarf. It doesn't have to be anything that's going to cost. It could be the scrap.
A lot of money.
But you're gaining, you're making it a game for people to follow you. So all it will cost you is, you know, you put your whatever in the mail and send it to those 5 people that, you know, are also, you might want to tell them, you know, invite 10 people, whoever invites 10 people to my platform, I'll send you a face mask or whatever.
Yeah.
The second part is credibility. Credibility comes in time. Like I was on a podcast today on Clubhouse, and this guy was asking, how does he get the blue check mark near his name? And that blue check mark means that you're credible. It means that you have mastered whatever field you're in, and Facebook or Instagram has decided that you are credible. He wanted to pay for it. He said, I heard that I could pay $3,500 to get the check near my name. My question to him was, but why? Like,
what did you do? What are you doing?
Check mark yet. Like that's the point. The point is not gratification. You get credibility in time. Credibility, you prove yourself. You get credibility when you have surpassed even what you think you're great at. If you made a garment and you're like, man, it doesn't matter how many people like it, but when you feel like this is the best work I could ever do, like I don't think I could even surpass this.
Right.
I still don't think I've done my best work yet. My best is still to come. My best work is going to be when I get to pour back into people, when I get to really stand strong on who I am. It took me a long time to really get to even this place in my spirit that I love myself now more than I ever have.
Wow, that's awesome.
Because some of it is because of this COVID thing that you get to spend almost a year by yourself. Or a year alone without, without filling yourself with, I'm going to go buy this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to dinner tonight. Yeah. You stay busy.
Right.
And, staying busy is great. But when you have to just kind of settle and live within like the realm of what can I change? How can I fix this? How can I take this little screw and make it tighter? Do I need to lift up a little bit here? So I've been able to stay at home and cook myself elaborate meals and buy some really and take myself out on dates and take and candles. And I'm like, oh my God, like I've never really got to sit with myself for a year. I've been in relationships. I've been busy. I've been traveling the world. I've been working. I've been making sure that all those people are okay.
Isn't it funny how you miss yourself?
Yeah.
You miss you.
Yeah. Absolutely. So credibility comes when you realize first and foremost that you've done your best work. Don't wait for somebody else to give you that credit, that stamp of approval. The stamp of approval. And then from there, once you finally give yourself that permission that you've mastered it, then everything else will start flowing so easily. You're going to start making designs after designs after designs because you no longer see flaws. You see you see grace and beauty in yourself.
Wow, that is some tea for you, honey. That's some tea. We're raising our tea glasses to that. That's excellent advice. On the count of 3, y'all take a sip. 1, 2, 3.
Wait.
Hold on. Okay, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, sip. Wow, and
that was awesome.
Oh, listen, okay.
Good part yet.
We didn't get to the good part, and that's what I'm trying to get to, that good part. Okay, I'm gonna do. Let's see. Micaiah Rush, my daughter, she has her own production company. She said, in the type of work that you do, how do you handle moments of discouragement, especially when you were just starting out?
Woo! Wait a minute. These are both of your daughters?
These are both my daughters. Yes.
She has some awesome kids that have big, I'm telling you, they have big visions, and they have parents that support them and push their visions. I mean, this is the reason I connected myself. It was funny how me and her met. We met at church, but we weren't even cool like that at church. It wasn't until she left the church that she became one of my favorite. She was my confidant. I call her one of my best friends. I tell this person everything, but I just love the way her and her husband have raised their children, have supported their children. And these kids, they're not even kids anymore. They're adults. I met them when they were kids, but they have big visions about what they want to do. They are amazing kids.
I love it. So, okay. How do I handle it? Trying to think of like how I can give you. Okay, so not everything is for everybody, right? So some things you just have to sit in that moment and wonder why. Like maybe I'm not supposed to be on that plane. Maybe I'm not supposed to be in this person's life. Maybe something better is coming. And sometimes I don't question it at all. Like, I mean, yes, being discouraged is also because you're expecting something. You know, so disappointment comes when you're expecting something. I don't really expect too things, and I know, you know, people will let you down. You know, yeah, sometimes you might get discouraged, but I just kind of sit in that moment and I try to look at the positive before I look at the negative. There has to be a why this didn't happen. You know, I mean, in every aspect, this is, you know, I don't like to just talk in work, but I like to talk to people about relationships too. Sometimes you want to be with a certain person.
Yeah.
You really, really do. And you keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And then when you finally realize that this person doesn't like you, and it's okay. So don't try.
Or you don't like them.
Or you don't like them. Sometimes you just have to be okay with the no. No is not a bad word. No, people, you know, people look at no as like, oh, it's so definitive. It's so, sometimes no is good. No, okay. I'm just like, okay. And you'll find when you say okay, now they want to come back. No, remember the no? I have
remember the no. Yeah.
Remember that too. I have because you know, we want sometimes what we can't have.
Yeah.
And so and so, you know, in business, I think I apply the same, you know, it's a great question. I just think I apply the same thing. It's just not meant for me, but somebody else will really, really benefit from it. And so I just kind of
absolutely.
I flow. I always my quote really is too. My other quote is I tell people I'm easy like Sunday morning.
Oh my God, I can't believe me and a friend were just talking about that song.
I just glide. I just live. I glide. I float. I glide. I'm like a butterfly.
Easy life.
I'm right here sometime, and sometime I'm fluttering up here. And you know, do I cry? Am I hurt? Do I have days where oh man, here's another thing. I lost my mother. My mother passed away, and then Tina Marie passed away the year after. So I lost both of my maternal people who meant the most to me in my life, who directed me, who showed me, you know, right from wrong, who showed me business. And when I lost both of them, I moved to the Caribbean.
Wow.
I sold.
Yeah, I heard you say that.
Yes. I sold my house. I gave up my business and I moved to the Caribbean. And I really felt that, like, by me doing that, I needed to go and reset. I had to reset my life. I had to figure out what made me happy. And I love the water. I love blue ocean. I love being warm. I love the, you know, island life. And so by me moving there, I was able to start another business. I started a vacation property rental company. And I started doing renovation of homes, and I started doing interior design. So I took my fashion design, how can I say,
expertise,
and create it into homes instead of into people. And by doing that, man, it opened up more doors, and I started meeting other types of clients, like a guy who owned all of the Exxon gas stations.
Wow.
I met tycoons who just, money was not an issue. They owned 3, 4, 5 homes, you know, in the Caribbean. Can you do all of my houses? Can you go in there and renovate? Can you go in there and so one client turned to another, to another, to another. So I had a new business. And the new business was interior, exterior designing, and from that I started knocking down walls and looking at, you know, learning the bones and structure of a home. And that,
you know, the one thing I love about listening to you talk about all of this is that there is a glow and a passion in your voice about it. It's something that you love.
Yes.
It's as if you're in love with what you do. And I'm just seeing that all in just how you're talking about it. It's almost like I don't know. I'm like, she making me feel like that's what I want to do, but I know that's not what I want to do. But I would love to have that same, I mean, no, think about the people that work every day and they're doing something they absolutely are not passionate about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I'm looking at you and I just see the glow and the passion you have for what you're doing. And it's just so amazing because that's what makes you happy.
Yes.
A lot of people need to get there and think about it. Imagine if you had become an attorney.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I love this because this conversation, evokes so many different emotions. And the other day I was talking to a friend who I had met 20 years ago, and she was reminding me 20 years ago, I got her a job at a store that was, it's in Beverly Hills. It's a foo-foo store. And she said, Dawn, I was so young at that time. I was afraid to be around those types of people. Now she's a life. Now she speaks to people like, big crowds. She's incredible. But my point to her was, wouldn't it be awesome if we could go back and rewind and look at where were we 30 years ago? What were we doing 30 years ago? And then I also said that, wouldn't it be great if we could have spoken to the younger version? Whereas in therapy, you speak to, it's different. So in retrospection, you wonder, like that whole saying, if I only knew then what I know now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
So true. I find myself saying that all the time. And you know what? The thing is what I do, exactly what you said that you want to do is give, to teach and to share with the younger adults and younger people, you pouring into them the information that you wish you had known at that age. And so that's what my husband and I do with our kids. We pour into them everything that we wish that we had known back then. And one of the things that I love too, about you taking us back in time and bringing us forward to current, is you see how when we talked about disappointment and being discouraged because things don't happen the way that you want it to, but everything in life that happens all happens to bring us to a certain point in our lives. Like if we had not gone through those things, if we had not gone through those changes, gone through the disappointments, going through the discouragement, we would not be where we are today. So doors being closed resulted in where you are right now. Like that is so, it just lets you know, like, just like you said, just ride the wave.
Ride the wave.
It's easy like Sunday morning.
It's easier said than done, but it has to be done.
Right.
I have to admit that, I've had disappointments. Yes,
it hurt.
Yes, I've had all of that. But sometimes, and sometimes you repeat the same thing. Like, haven't you learned that lesson yet?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes.
Sometimes the hardest lessons take the longest to learn too.
Right. And that's very true. That's very true. And those are some of the things that if we could go back and change those things, because it takes like years off of your life. Like I didn't learn it when I should have learned it. So now I got to go over and do it all over again. And it takes years off your life. Makai says, as a young adult, this is very inspiring. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Ann Henderson said, feed their soul with positivity. I think that's what she was saying.
Yes.
Althea, who is our featured Spotlight Black business owner of this evening, she says, well said, words are powerful. Yes, and she's talking about children. Troy says, thank you, Evelyn. They make us look good. So he's talking about what you commented on the children. Yes. And Troy says very true when you were talking about discouragement and how to process through that. And then let's see. Troy says, what would you change knowing what you know now? That's a good question.
What would I change?
If you would change anything.
Yeah, I probably would. I mean, I would be that would be crazy if I said nothing. I mean, I don't have regrets, but I would change certain things. I probably would take my time and cultivate. I would have cultivated deeper relationships with my exes, because when you're a boss and you're busy, you don't really allow the person that you really love to let them know, I really do love you, but I have to work. Right. I have to go on this trip for 3 months. Right. But when I come back, I promise, we will spend time together. I would have balanced my life a little more.
You probably would have been more intentional.
Yes. Good. That is it. I would have been intentional with everything with them. But, at the same time, I'm blessed to say that I've been loved more than 3 or 4 or 5, 6 times. I've loved more than 4 or 5, 6 times. And so I love romance. I love relationships. I love, I just love the whole idea of love.
Right.
So, yeah. And, I don't know.
It's never too late. Like you might listen, you're not even looking for nobody now, but Mr. Right might pop up on your doorstep, or you might be taking a trip somewhere and run right into him.
Who knows? I don't know what this holds, but I know that I'm ready.
Right.
That's what I do. I said that I was ready. I'm ready. I'm ready now.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
You're in a place of that sweet spot, and that's usually when it happens, when you least expect it, when you're not looking for it. You're in love with yourself. You're winding it down, and that's when it usually happens. So I'm definitely gonna be keeping my ears to the floor, to the wall, because I'm be waiting. Yes, I would definitely do that. I would definitely.
Ready. What's her name? Tiffany, how to say she ready? She ready.
She ready.
Okay. Very good. Yes. Troy said, what was your biggest misconception about fashion before you started styling celebrities? That's a good question.
Yes, that it was inclusive. I thought that fashion was inclusive. I thought that there's just as many Black people in these fashion houses drawing and sketching and working for Gucci. Wow. Saint Laurent. I thought that maybe in those, behind those closed doors, there were, some people thinking about us, about let's cut this differently. Nah, they were cutting stuff themselves. And as a matter of fact, they didn't even want Black folks wearing too many of their items because they felt like watered down. I also went to fashion weeks. I was invited to fashion weeks in New York and Paris because I was Halle Stylist. So I had front row seats and what have you. But when I got to those shows and the white women who were publicists and really like high sedity publicists, when I would get to the door and, before I could say who I am, they would overlook me until somebody who knew who I was said, let her in. And then that publicist asked, oh, who is she? That's Halle Berry Stylist. Oh, their whole thing changed. Oh, God, thank you for coming. We're so happy to have you. And all that, put me right in that front row seat. But before that, because I may be one of 5 at that time. Now, of course, now they want Nicki Minaj, or they want Ciara, or they want, Jay-Z and Beyonce. They want us to be in that arena. But before, really, think about it. They weren't really caring. There wasn't too many really big stars, except like maybe a Diana Ross or somebody that wanted to be in their, at their fashion shows. Of course, you have Naomi Campbell, who is my friend, who is fun as hell. She makes sure that those designers pay her. And I could tell you some funny stories. We go to Beverly Hills and she walks in those stores, and Valentino or whatever store she goes in, if she likes it, she tells them, put it in the bag. Put it in the bag, and credit card coming out.
Wow. I love it.
If you have a problem, call Valentino and tell him I'm in the store.
Wow.
She's made for them. She doesn't, she is about that life. She's like, I want that one and that one. And is there a purse that goes with it? If there is, put it in the bag.
Wow.
I would love to be a fly on the wall. I
And
really
we should
would.
drink some tea on that.
Okay, yes. Raise the teacups, guys. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's take a sip.
Okay.
That was some good tea right there. I love it. I love it. That's the type of influence that we should have. I mean, there have been so, like I was just saying before, you know, when I look into Harlem and the fashions that came through Harlem, and you know, just the history that Wevlin gave back from Africa. And even now, realizing I watched some videos on fashion, and I understand now that there were a lot of designs and ideas that were stolen from Africa, and Europeans actually put their name on the stuff. Like, I was going, oh my gosh.
Still,
they still do it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, that I went into that history only because so much started in Africa. So much started, and it kind of went out, and they were afraid that now they're smart enough to take it back. And that's what they didn't want. So this is the reason why in history they've done what they've done. I mean, you know, in the South you had the Jim Crow laws. That's a part of separating. That's keeping the black keeping the, you know, blacks separated. We don't want them in our world. Then they started doing the thing with the housing. You know, if they move into our community, then it's going to devalue what we have. And so it comes down to, oh, now we're smart enough. Now we have the education enough. Now we have more experience. Now we can take our stuff back. We can make more money on our stuff for ourselves, opposed to allowing you guys to do it for us. So, I mean, it goes back to, come on, we got to give homage to where homage is due at the end of the day. And they don't want to do that.
I mean, it goes like, I mean, even in movies, you know, back in the day with Cleopatra was from Egypt. Egypt is in Africa. When they did the movies, Liz Taylor played Cleopatra.
She's pale.
Yeah.
I was like, what? But it made sense to them that, you know, this particular queen from Africa, oh, she has to be a white woman. We have to have somebody who looks like us play Cleopatra. I mean, fashion, the simplest thing that I could say is, even like, you know, there were times when like Run DMC, when they came out with the Adidas and no shoelaces, that from people in the projects or what have you, who, you know, would throw shoes up on top by their shoelaces. And then some people who couldn't afford them would go and get the shoes, take the laces out because they were dirty. And so, like, instead of keep washing these same shoelaces, let's not even put laces in. Well, that's became style. Like, that became a serious style for people and you know, that those sneakers ended up being very pricey. Shoelaceless sneakers became a statement. But that came from people in the hood that couldn't afford going to buy new shoelaces every time they got dirty.
Wow.
Right. You like, know, and I mean, I was looking at, I went into the shoe store recently, and the Air Force Ones, I was just looking at the Air Force Ones in how they've changed so much. However, Air Force Ones were going down. It took someone like Nelly to create a song to project the Air Force One. So now, I remember when Air Force Ones were like the cheapest Nike shoe you could buy. But now you can easily spend $200 on a pair of Air Force Ones because Nelly had to forge. He forged that with that song, you know, and I'm like, they really, I hope he got his money.
I hope so too, but I doubt it.
And see, and that is just all of these things that we're speaking on right now is really why I wanted to start this platform, because we really need to know, like you said, Dawn, our value and not compromise that. I mean, we infuse ourselves in so many different genres of any industry and can bring life to it, really put the flavor into it. Seriously. And so we need to be able to patronize one another, not have to go and purchase Versace, because we got some people that have better designs than Versace.
Right.
But they just hadn't been, they hadn't been put on blast yet, put out there for everybody to say, hey, this is a Black designer. Let's go patronize them. Right. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, you got the red bottoms and the this and the that, and that shows you have, some level of money or riches or affluence. But we really do have great fashion designers that outweigh hands down any of the stuff that you're going to spend $2,500 on.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why, like, right now, Dapper Dan and all these Black designers who are showing up in these showrooms or in these, behind these brands, I give them kudos. But this is all new. This is not anything that happened, in the 40s or in the 20s or in
right.
And so the other part of it all too is when you mentioned, Nelly getting paid for that. No, I mean, rappers sing about Patron, they sing about champagne, they sing about cars, they sing about, they just got those companies don't care. They're not calling them saying, hey, let me send you a check for and Dom Perignon or Cristal. Or, no, they're blowing them up so that it now becomes a fad, and now everybody can buy that. We reap nothing from it. We reap nothing from it. So,
yeah, and that's what we have to start. That's why I was talking a couple of like a month or so ago about networks and building our own networks with each other. So if you're a rapper and you getting ready to make a song and you getting ready to make some music about some liquor or drinking or whatever, you need to connect with a black company that makes whiskey.
Yes.
And y'all come up with an agreement. Okay, I'm gonna write this song. I'm gonna bring you in on it. And this is how much I want. This is how much royalties. This is how much I want off of this. And it works hand in hand. Now we all feed everybody eating. Everybody coming to the table and everybody's eating.
Yes.
See, but that comes also with the mindset. That's a mindset that we have to gather as well, because there's been so much instilled in us that, oh, you're a part of this family, so that family is better than that family. And we don't deal with the likes of that family. And a lot of that type of attitude has to be torn down so that we do understand we don't have to be like crabs in a bucket where everybody's trying to reach the top, but everybody's pulling each other down. We have to learn to build each other and be our own support. We have to be our brother's keeper. And until that point happens, I mean, that's the one thing I feel that keeps our culture down.
I think we're there now. I think that we
I definitely think we're there.
And I also think it all came back to the Black woman, getting involved even in politics, how we all just came together and really made this thing happen. And I think from there we become examples. I think how we really start handling things, and the fact that women are now really owning our own companies and coming into what they say, what we're shattering the glass ceiling, and I think that we're getting the respect that we deserve. I was in a room today on Clubhouse where this white man actually was asking me questions, and he ended up telling me he wants to finance my next few projects. He wants to send me to Costa Rica because there's a woman there that owns like 500 acres and they're trying to develop a hotel property, and that I would be the one, and that there's these groups of men who are putting money into a pool for women who develop and design. And so I just ended up being in that room, and we had a Zoom call today, and I was telling him that I have a calling, I think, to go to Bali or Fiji or Indonesia, and he said they also have property there. So I'm just going to fill it out. I don't know what's next for me, but man, like that in itself was to hear what he's saying, that they understand that we, not just Black women, but women in general, have been suppressed.
But we have so much influence.
Yeah. And I mean, the way he broke it down was really deep. He talked about how, men are hunters and women are, we gather
nurturers,
and we nurture. And so therefore we don't necessarily have a team of people that help us. A man back in the day would have an assistant. The mother is at home taking care of the kids. He has, you know, the team of men around him helping him to elevate his game, whereas we do a lot of stuff on our own. We are, you know, nurturers, and we can handle, we'll do this, we'll do that.
Multitaskers. Yeah.
Multitask. And we don't have necessarily a team of people to help.
Yep.
Yes, we wait for our mate to come home or to come and provide, but we've handled so much for him, for the kids, for everyone. And then we take care of ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what he was saying is, you know, sometimes we don't even go to the bank to look for the line of credit or the loan, or to believe that we could even do that. Yeah. So what they've done now is just, they have they have this money that's just sitting, and they put it in different projects. So I'm going to see what happens with that. And that was just a blessing. That was just perfect divine time for me to be in that room. So I don't know.
I might have to get me a ticket and come with you so we can do some filming.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to get you this show for real. I'm so serious. Like, you should have been, like, HGTV or Netflix should have been offering you something, because to me, those platforms are, well, especially HGTV, I don't think that they're diverse. They really lack diversity on that network. They have maybe 1 or 2 black shows, not a whole lot, but they need more diversity. And your show is, I mean, you're pretty much doing it for them. You're already doing a lot of the leg work yourself. All they have to do is bring the cameras and write that check.
That's right.
That's it.
Thank you. Keep it. I'll bring your daughters on the show so they can be like, okay, so, you know, asking questions. We have to figure out how we can get them involved.
Yeah. Oh, they would love that. They would love that. But I don't want to, I'm going to have to bring you back, because there's still a whole part that we didn't even get to tonight. This was just so good. And I really do thank you so much, Dawn, for coming on the platform, for taking time out of your schedule to come and sip some tea with us tonight. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And I hope that you will come back. We would love to have you back, because there is a part 2.
Oh,
there's a part 2.
Both of you for having me.
I'm glad just to meet you. I am. Like, I've learned so much just as a woman trying to move forward with her life. I have 3 children, and just trying to move me and my children forward by, you know, education and just doing everything that I'm doing right now. Like, everything that you said just lets me know. Look, I don't want to cry because I did my makeup today, but it just lets me know that God is a very intentional being. Yes. And he directs us in the way that we should go. And that if we just submit and be like that Sunday morning, you know, he's going to direct us in the way that we should go. And we just got to be okay with the track that God has for us. A lot of times we hinder ourselves because of decisions that we make. For people that we allow into our lives. So we hinder ourselves sometimes. Sometimes it's a will for us to be hindered because maybe it's not the right timing. But everything that you said just touched me.
You that it's okay to reinvent yourself. Change, and it's okay to have a growth spurt. You know what I mean? That growth spurt brings you out of something and into something that, you know, is divine.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Look, I done already started.
Listen.
Yes.
Next time I come back, you might be like, I quit my job. I quit this. I don't do this anymore. I'm packing. I'm moving to your dream place. I don't know. Anything could happen.
Right.
Exactly. And I think that that's a lot of what you said resonates with so many different people tonight. I mean, anybody, even if they're not in the fashion industry, they can relate to and take what you've shared with them and apply it. It is motivational, it's inspirational. It gives us the wherewithal to just keep pressing through and make those adjustments and those changes. So yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. And we have a month dedicated to real estate. So that I'm gonna have to bring you back that month.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, so you can talk about, you know, that the transitioning into the renovation and all of those things. That would be awesome. Let's see. Troy said, "Thanks for answering my questions."
You're welcome.
Ann Henderson said, "This is very encouraging. It touched my soul."
Thank you.
Oh man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look, I'm just a bag of water right here. So,
and Dawn, did you have any closing remarks that you wanted to say before we end your segment?
Okay. Just like I said, just, follow your dreams, follow your passion.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be as simple as I'm saying, but there is a purpose for you to be on this earth, and just sit in your meditation and listen to that silent voice talk to you.
Yes.
And that is where all your answers will be revealed.
Awesome. And can you tell the people how they can reach you, how they can find you?
Well, I'm a Facebook, even though I like IG, I'm on Facebook at Dawn to Dusk Haynes, I think, or no, I'm on Dawn Marie Haynes on Facebook and Dawn to Dusk Haynes on Instagram. And yeah, but I really do a lot of my stuff on Facebook because I feel like I have a following there who lives vicariously through me.
Yeah.
Also, childhood friends who could attest and say, yeah, this is true. Or I have high school friends that are on there that I remember when, and then I have adult friends that I met in, while I was in the music, TV, and film industry. That
look, I'm looking you up right now.
Okay.
Well,
and I'm trying to figure out. Do you have is it a picture of you, an older picture of you?
No,
because there's another Dawn Marie Haynes here, but it doesn't. I don't know that it necessarily looks like you.
No.
I'm trying to get on now.
Okay.
It's Haynes.
Haynes. Dawn Marie Haynes. And there's one, I have sunglasses on. That's the one that's me.
Okay. That's the one that's you.
Yeah.
She so Dawn, young on this picture.
She still look, honey. She looking.
Yeah, she does. She look good.
I finished talking about them hats. I love that hat. It is so cute. I loved it. Yes, honey.
Yes, honey.
Oh my gosh, I'm loving it. And it's like a orange, and it's got like a reddish. Yeah. Oh yes, Dawn. Where did you get that? That is so cute.
You would be surprised, but I have like every color, and I make a lot of them. So I buy them, kind of I embellish them. But I have so many. We'll talk about that.
Okay. Well, yes, we'll have to talk about that. Now, my mother loves hats. She used to be the hat queen, honey. When I tell you, she had a whole closet full of hats. That was her thing. So, yeah, we definitely going to have to talk.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are forever connected, Miss Dawn.
Yes. Thank you.
We are forever connected.
Taking the steps and calling me. That was awesome. When I picked up the phone, you were like, I said, yeah, this is me. And you're like, I want to know where you do my show. Of course. Of course. I mean, listen, you went through however you got the number. I was like, I like her already. So yeah.
Yeah. I was digging. I was like, yeah. I was like, let me get to her, because I'm like, I saw you on Clubhouse. I was like, what? I heard you talking, and I was like, I gotta get her. And
that's a great platform too. I mean, I've met so many powerful people already, and it's it really is about networking. It's not so social. It's not a social network. It is network.
It is really about networking.
People in the room, because there's people in the room that have great stories. And
right.
But I'm gonna let you guys go, because I know
I will be in touch with you. I want to go ahead. I'm gonna call you probably tomorrow.
Okay.
I know you like 3 hours behind us, but I'm gonna give you a call tomorrow, because I want to try to get you on for the month that we do real estate, and then just kind of talk about some other things that you have going on.
All right. I hope to get a copy of this.
Oh, you will? We're gonna send it to you.
All right. Good. Thank you.
Okay. Good night, Dawn.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was amazing. Amazing.
That was so much.
Oh my gosh, it was so
Sean,
awesome.
you didn't tell me I was gonna come on here and cry. Like, that's not even right. I wasn't even set up for that.
Listen, I didn't know.
Next time I just won't put no makeup on because no.
I knew that her history and her story was just so, I just love her spirit. Like, she's got such a genuine spirit, such a humble person.
Humble. Mm-hmm.
You just would not know that she's had all of the experiences that she's had and where she is just by talking to her. You would have to really know her background. She's just so like human. You know, she don't try to put herself out to be anything other than
like your neighbor. Like, you know, like your neighbor. Like, hey, girl, you know, she's just like your neighbor, just a regular old, I don't know. But there's something so amazingly special about her.
Yes.
She definitely touched me with just, and I'm not in her industry, or do I have a desire to be in her industry? However, just in my life, just where I am in life, I mean, it spoke volumes to me.